Welcome to the Purpose, Passion, and Profit podcast, a show for ambitious women who are ready to ditch their 9-to-5 and create an online business doing work that's in alignment with their calling. I'm your host, Kelly Dawn, business and money mindset coach for purpose-driven entrepreneurs. Each week, I'll be sharing actionable steps to help you gain clarity, build confidence, and cultivate an abundance mindset that will help you create a profitable, service-based online business. If you're ready to make an income and impact doing what you love, let's do this. Hey everyone, welcome back to the Purpose, Passion, and Profit podcast. Today we're talking about the mindset work behind creating 10K months in your business. Because of course we need to be showing up, we need to be taking action, there needs to be a strategy in place, but so much more is involved in creating 10K months in your business, especially if you come from a background where you're working in a 9-to-5. So the very first thing that we want to look at is taking money off of the pedestal. And this is something that's absolutely huge. This is something I have been guilty of for sure over the years, where we get in this space where we have an income goal, 10K months, 15K months, whatever it is. And we make this goal something that is so special. It's so significant. And it's like this thing that we're constantly reaching for. Right? And so it's almost as if the money goal gets put up on this pedestal and we're looking up at it every single day when we're doing our journaling, as we're going throughout our day. Maybe you have Post-it notes on your bathroom mirror with 10K months on it. And we're always in this energy of striving, right? We're always in the energy of striving to hit 10K months. And as long as we feel like the money is up here on a pedestal, the money is somewhere away from us, it's going to be really hard for us to manifest it. Now, the cool thing is, with the way the universe works, if you have a true soul desire to hit 10K months in your business, that means it's available for you. And I will say this over and over again because I feel it's really important to talk about the strategy and taking action. I know you guys know that, but in case you're new here, I talk about manifestation a lot, but also in a very practical way. So yes, we're showing up, we're taking action, but we also get to do the inner work that's really going to help us create what we want. And so if you have a desire for 10K months, we get to take it off of the pedestal and we get to be in the energy of it already being done. And I know this is a lot easier said than done. I completely understand that. But I have an example for you that I feel is really going to hit home because it's something that really helped me shift around this. So when I had a 9-to-5 job, my job duties were certain things that I had to do every single day. There was an understanding that if I show up and I do those things, I'm going to get a regular paycheck, right? So I show up, I do the work, I get the money. There was no resistance there to receiving the money because I knew I was showing up and I was doing my part. I was just doing my job. And it took me a long time to get to this point where I really saw my business, my online business, as being the same thing, as being the same way. And from the conversations I have with clients, it's like, it's okay to make money in someone else's business. It's okay to make money if you're an employee. You go to work, you get the paycheck, you just obviously you do the work, you get paid. But when it comes to our own business, that's where things can feel a little bit sticky. That's where things can get really entangled with our stories, which we're going to talk about in a second. But I want you guys to think with your business, if you show up and you create content, if you serve your audience, if you're speaking to the people you're here to speak to, if you're selling on a regular basis, why the fuck wouldn't you get paid? And I'm not saying that lightly, seriously, why would you not get paid? And that is a great journaling question to dive into. You can ask yourself, okay, why am I not receiving money for this work that I'm doing? What's going on here? And there you're going to uncover some stories. And that's the next thing I want to talk about. Because the first thing we want to do, remove money off the pedestal, get to this place where you just know and trust when you show up, you do the work. Yes, there's some tweaking that can be done. Yes, there's different strategy things that you can be doing, right? But for the most part, you show up, you do the work, you sell regularly, you get paid. The second thing we want to look at are the stories holding you back for why you think that's not possible. So when you ask yourself, okay, well, why wouldn't I get paid? Why wouldn't people pay me? See what comes up for you around this. And for most people, myself included, the thing is, I'm not good enough. That was something I had to do a ton of work around. I still return to that when I'm feeling a little bit off in my business. The not good enough thing is so common. Men and women, especially women, mainly I work with women, so I see it a lot with those people, but it's there. It is there and it is deep rooted, especially when we're doing work that's really connected to our purpose. right? When I was cleaning houses, I did not have the not good enough thing. I knew that I was really fucking good at cleaning houses. I was really good. And so of course I was going to get paid. I didn't feel like I wasn't good enough to earn an income in that business. When it came to coaching though, I had some stories that were things like, I'm not a psychologist or a counselor or a trained therapist. Therefore, why would anyone ever pay to talk to me? Because I come from this old paradigm way of being. I'm 43, so I'm old school. And my way of thinking had to shift dramatically when I got online. Because when I was growing up, the only people who made money through having conversations like that were trained psychologists, therapists, counselors, right? There are different types of entrepreneurs, but to have someone pay you just to talk to you, that was completely unheard of. So I had to do a lot of work around the not good enough thing, but I would love for you guys to take some time and dive into this question. So why do I feel like people aren't paying me right now? And you might uncover some surface level things and say like, you know what? I haven't been showing up. I haven't been creating content. I've been half-assing it with my energy. I've been taking care of myself. And you might notice these things right off the bat. And that's a beautiful thing because when we have awareness around those things, then we can shift them, then we can change. And when we change, we'll get the result. But you might even go a little bit deeper. Maybe there's some other stories around that. Maybe you say you want clients, but you don't want to give up your free time. That was another thing I had because I love working with one-to-one clients. That's my favorite way to work with people. And there was a time when I thought I was ready to take on more clients, but I was going through some stuff personally where I was really valuing my free time and I didn't want to give that up. So on the surface level, I was like, yeah, I want to sign on more clients. I want a wait list. I want to be fully booked. And then internally, the story was, well, if you work with that many clients, you're not going to have any free time and you're going to be fucking miserable. Right? And so when we're in a space like that, what happens is we're like hitting the gas pedal, like, fuck yeah, I want 10K months. I want more clients. And we're also hitting the brake at the same time. So when we're talking about stories, what we want to do here, guys, is look at the disconnect. Look at the stories. Look at the different thoughts that are coming up for you that aren't in alignment with your vision. Now, to quickly touch on vision, this is something that's part of my process because I feel it's so important to constantly be aligning to what we truly desire. When you're clear on your vision, you know what you want. And when those stories pop up, you're going to know right away if that story is in alignment with your vision. So for today's example, you want 10K months in your business. Is a story something like, let's say, no one in my audience has any money? Is that story going to help you get to 10K months? So every single time these thoughts come up that don't feel good, that feel limiting, what you want to do is check in and ask yourself, is this in alignment with my vision? And if it's not, that's when we get to shift it. And this is not an opportunity to get hard on ourselves. This is not an opportunity to get down on ourselves. All it is having awareness. Right? All we're going to do is have awareness around the thought, and then we're going to choose a better feeling thought. Abraham Hicks talks about this. We're going to choose a better feeling thought that's in alignment with our vision, or we're going to tell ourselves a better feeling story that's in alignment with our vision. And so a big one that comes up all the time in conversations I have with clients is the people in my audience have no money. They love my work, but they have no money and they can't pay me. Okay, well, let's shift that. We could shift that to people love to fucking pay me. My audience is filled with aligned clients who are ready to pay me. We could make that jump. But yeah, I want you guys to be careful and notice the feeling in your body. Notice the feeling in your body when you say that new affirmation or when you tell yourself that new story. Because if there's anything in your system that goes, that's bullshit, people don't love to fucking pay you. People aren't lining up to pay you. That's not true at all. What we want to do is shift that a little bit and say something like, I'm willing to believe that there are some people in my audience who could pay me. Okay, so we want to work with our story, want to shift the story that's holding us back from creating what we want. And then the third thing, guys, that's going to help you get to 10K months in your business is taking aligned action with that version of you. And I know this is not the first time you've heard this from me, but I will talk about it until I'm blue in the face because this is so important. We can journal, we can visualize, we can do the affirmations, we can do all of that inner work, which is really important. But if we're still acting like that other version of ourselves who isn't making the money we want, it's going to be really hard for that money to flow through because there's that resistance there. It's like we're holding the energy of two different identities. And money is going to have a really hard time flowing into our channel if we are refusing to pick a fucking identity. So coming back to the vision of you, the version of you who's making 10K months, when you picture that, when you imagine yourself running your business like that, when you're seeing yourself going throughout your day, working with clients, the kind of team you have, the kind of mentor you have, when you're seeing all this in your vision, that version of you, what is she doing or what is he doing? And that's where the action comes in. And this is where things get really scary. All right. And this is where things like you might want to celebrate. You might want to celebrate and buy yourself a beautiful gift. Right. You might think like, holy shit, like I just had this big income month. I really want to treat myself to this new thing. Watch the story that comes up. Because the story might be like, well, are you going to make that money next month? Are you really going to be able to do that? So the version of you who was making consistent 10K months, they would go ahead and buy the thing because they knew the money was going to come in. And I also want to make it really clear, this is never about being irresponsible with your money and going out and doing something absolutely crazy that is going to jeopardize your way of living. Like, I don't want you guys going out and buying a brand new car because your next level self would and not be able to pay the rent the next month. I know it's really a dramatic example, but I always want to make sure that you guys are being like big dreamers, but also staying grounded in reality. Now, I don't love using the word like reality like that because so often we look at what's going on around us and we get really attached to that. And what we want to do is be more committed to the reality we want to experience, not the one that we're currently in. But there are ways where we can align to that next level version of ourselves while still being responsible. And so things like hiring a housekeeper. This is a really common one for people where they think, you know what, once I'm making 10K months, I'm going to have a housekeeper in all the time. Now, with that, you don't have to jump to having a housekeeper every single week. You might have someone in once a month, and that's perfect. You're still aligning to that next level version of yourself. And the same thing with a mentor. Maybe private mentorship is something that you feel it's like a desire, but you can't get there just yet. Well, what investment can you make that's going to help you grow in your business or your health or whatever area it is? There's always a move that we can make that's aligning with our next level self, and that's how we really close the gap. Because the gap is just an illusion to begin with. And what we're doing here is we're expanding energetically to 10K months. We're doing the mindset work. The action that we're taking closes any little bit of gap that's actually left. And so you're living as that version of you who's making 10K months. And this is where some people talk about acting as if or fake it till you make it. And I want to touch on that for a little bit, because if you are actually doing the things that the 10K version of you would be doing, you're not faking anything. So you're not an imposter, you're not a fake, you're not a phony. And I'm not talking about going around saying that you're making more money than you are. That's definitely something I'm against. But in your mind, you need to tell yourself that you were already there before you're there in the physical. So that's why things like putting up Post-it notes, journaling out affirmations, visualizing, using vision boards, going on Pinterest and looking at really beautiful things. If you love luxury handbags, if you're a big fan of handbags, go and look at the handbags. Imagine you having those things. If it's charities that you want to give to, imagine yourself writing a big fat check. Well, does anyone write checks anymore? Not really. Imagine yourself sending a big donation through to your favorite charity and get in the energy of, this is my life now. And then the last thing I want to touch on that ties in with this is the identity. So you need to be constantly identifying as the 10K version of you, the 10K a month version of you, in order to make that a reality. And so what we want to do here is check in with ourselves throughout the day. And I am huge on setting notifications on your phone, having little alarms go off like every hour. They can be even more frequent if you want to. But I recommend checking in multiple times a day to see where you're at internally. And you can put little reminders on your phone saying like, what are you focusing on? Who are you being right now? What are you thinking about? And just notice what's going on. And again, this is not to be hard on ourselves. This is not to beat ourselves up. This is to bring awareness around something, because we can't shift things. We can't change things if we are like ostriches sticking our head in the sand. And so with the identity piece, an example I have from my own life around this is back when I had my cleaning business. So I loved my cleaning business. Back in 2013 is when I started it. And I thought way back then that was going to be it for me. I thought it was going to be the next Molly Maid. I had this whole vision planned out for that business. Once I got working in it for a few months and was at the point where I was ready to hire employees, I realized that is not in alignment. That's not what I truly desire. And so I started looking into different things I could do. Coaching just came about naturally. And for a while, I was really holding on to the identity of being a housekeeper who was coaching as a side hustle. And when I was holding that identity, I was really frustrated and I was really pissed off often. I'd be cleaning houses, I'd be scrubbing fucking toilets, and I get really down on myself because I'm like, fuck, like I don't want to be doing this. I don't want to be a housekeeper anymore. I want to be a full-time coach. And even saying that, I can feel that like frustrated energy. And when we're in that vibe, it's really hard to change things and to manifest things because that energy is not super attractive. And so what I started doing is identifying as a full-time coach who just happened to be cleaning houses that day. And it was a little game that I played in my head. I still showed up for my cleaning clients. I still ran that business. But in my head, I was a full-time coach who was doing the work that she loved, who was getting paid to be herself on the internet and say the things that she wanted to say and serve her people. In my head, I was already there full-time. And I just told myself the story that this afternoon, today, you just happen to be cleaning this house for some extra money. How fun is that? Because that extra money you can pour into your business, right? And that identity shift was absolutely huge because I wasn't frustrated anymore. I was excited because I knew that going to clean that house that afternoon or that morning, that was going to be one of the last times I was working as a housekeeper. And I didn't get attached to a certain date that I had to leave that job, but I ended up just weaning myself off of it. So I just worked with a couple clients near the end before I went full time in my business. Part of me still kind of enjoyed it because I like the physical aspect of it, but the energy shifted and my attitude shifted. And I wasn't this frustrated housekeeper who was in total victim mode because I couldn't get my coaching business going full time. I identified as a full-time coach who just happened to be doing something on the side for a temporary amount of time. So to give you guys a quick little recap here, 3 internal shifts are going to help you create 10K months in your business. Number 1, take money off the pedestal. Money is not anything special. It does not have power over us. In fact, it's quite the opposite. We have full power and control over money. But the way we are taught about money, it's really messed up in our society. We're taught that it's something that we need to be constantly striving for, that we need it to survive, that it's nice to have beautiful things, but that we also don't want too much of it because then we turn into greedy, evil people. So there's a lot of messed up stuff around money in our society. Putting it on a pedestal is one of those things. So what we want to do is take it down and just see it for what it is. It's a tool that's going to help us create more of what we want. Okay. And I've heard money compared to oxygen. I love that because we wouldn't be walking around going, oh, I need more air. I need more air. No, we just breathe. And the same thing with money. We show up in our business. We have the strategy in place. We take the action. We do the internal work to align to our next level. And we just get to show up like that. Like it's not like this big, hard, difficult thing unless we make it that way. And most of us do, myself included, because we all have programming around money, especially when it comes to doing a business that's based on your purpose and your passions. Okay, so number 2 is we want to release the stories that are not in alignment with our vision. So any thought that pops into your head that isn't in alignment with you making 10K months, you want to shift it. And you want to shift it really, really quickly. This is not the time to mull over the story and wallow in it and question, well, maybe this is true. I know, well, this happened to me 5 years ago, and that kind of backs up the evidence that this story could possibly be true. No, we want to shut that down right away. One thing I like to do is I'll just envision a big red stop sign popping up in my mind's eye, and I'll tell myself, like, you know what, we don't do this anymore. We're not even fucking going there. Okay, so we want to look at the stories and release the ones that aren't serving us. And you can go deeper into the mindset work around this and dig around if you want to. I don't always recommend that because sometimes with this, all we need to do is question the belief to see if it's true and choose to put it down. Melanie Ann Lair talks about this. I think the example she uses is, and I could be wrong, I know she mentioned it in one of her trainings. Say you're like in a clothing store and you're picking up a sweater and you're like, oh my God, the sweater's absolutely hideous. Well, you wouldn't walk around the store with that sweater. You would just put it down, right? And it's the same thing with our beliefs. We don't need to take on these beliefs and these thoughts that don't serve us. We can just put them down and we don't need to get super attached to them. And then the third thing is acting in alignment with your next level self. And this is tied into identity. So throughout your day, what would that next level version of yourself be doing? The version of you who's making 10K months, what are they doing throughout their day as far as action goes? But also, how are they thinking? How are they being? What are they focusing on? What kinds of conversations are they having? And then also, how are they investing? Like, what moves are they making in their business? Are they hiring the housekeeper? Are they hiring a team member? Or are they trying to bootstrap their way to 10K months, knowing that they're wasting their time and their energy doing things that they absolutely hate? And it's really interesting because there's a lot of resistance for most of us when it comes to hiring things out or even hiring support. But when you just put yourself in that identity and you hold that as much as possible, things can shift really, really quickly. Because everything that we're experiencing is created from within first. And when we make those internal shifts, we can be taking action all the time and not seeing results. But once those internal shifts kind of kick in, that's when things change. And you never know when it's going to happen. So I can't sit here and tell you, you know what, if you do this mindset work, if you do what we talked about in today's podcast every single day for 2 weeks, you are going to see a shift in 2 weeks. I can't say that to you because it might take 2 days. It might take 2 years. It's completely up to you, but I know it's possible. Everyone is different. We all have our own stories. I don't believe in overnight success by any means, but I also know that we can shift very quickly from one identity to another. And I say that because I used to be a smoker. I used to smoke half a pack of cigarettes a day. And the day I quit, I became a non-smoker. So I completely shifted my identity based on the way I was thinking and acting. And it's the same with anything. If it's like that with smoking, it can be the same thing with other areas of your health. It can be like that with money in your business too. All right, you guys, that's what I have for you this week. I do have 2 spots open for private clients at my 2021 rate. So if you're in a place right now in your business where you're ready to go full time, you want to hit 10K months, and you want to do it from a place of alignment. And what I mean by that is you're running your business the way that you want to be running it, and you're not following some cookie cutter formula. Because yes, I believe we have to have a strategy, but there are many different strategies that are going to help you create 10K months. The way I see it is, as long as you're showing up consistently, you are growing your audience on a regular basis, you're offering value, and you're selling, those are the 3 things you need to have in place. How exactly you do that gets to look the way you want it to look. Because if I were just to hand you a blueprint or a formula for 10K months and say, okay, yeah, do this webinar, do this email sequence, do this, do that, and you're like, this feels really fucking gross, you're not going to want to do it. You're not going to want to show up for your business. So I'm all about helping you create a strategy that works for you. And then it's the mindset and the energetic piece that goes along with that that's really going to quantum leap results and create some real success for you. So if you want in on private coaching, just send me a DM. All right, guys, I will leave you with that. If you are hanging out on Instagram, you can find me over at igniteyourpurpose.co and on Facebook in the Ignite Your Purpose Facebook group. I will talk to you later, and I hope you have an amazing, amazing rest of your day.